We do have two young ladies with microphones, so if you have a question for one of our guests, please raise your hand and we'll get you a microphone. Don't be shy, nothing's off the table. There we go, right there, gentleman in the blue.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Joe Franzese. I have a question for you, Marianne. So my business, I do digital consulting, mostly in the restaurant space now. And so one of the questions I had for you was, what kind of struggles do you deal with when you're starting a new brand?
Well, you have part of it already solved, and it's how do you tell people about it. And so if you're in the digital world, you can answer some of those questions. You know, I think that one of the things is it's easy to get distracted from your brand, and it doesn't happen just when you're new. It happens at other points in time as well. So I think really understanding what your brand is and then sharing that with your staff. You know, we wrote a vision mission statement way back in the late 80s, which I'm happy to say is very much what we're focused on today as well. It's been changed just a little bit over time. And there was a time when we didn't use it very much. And we don't do that anymore. We share it with the staff. We talk about it every day. When we have a problem, we look there first to see how we're going to solve it. And I think that if you do that, much like you were talking about in the beginning of do what's right, you know, that it gives you an opportunity. It's a great filter for all of the decisions that you make, and it will help to keep you from getting distracted and staying true to your brand.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Go ahead, Jimmy.
Joe, you mentioned you go to Tallahassee a lot to make sure that all the constituents kind of know the value you guys are driving. What would you say the political climate's like right now for you, you know, funding-wise? And then kind of moving forward, you know, are you worried? You know, there's obviously a big governor's race and a number of seats open. Kind of what's your general thoughts?
Well, I think that the political climate in Tallahassee, I always kind of liken it to the movie Groundhog Day. Every year that I go up there, you have to start from scratch again. And again, I think luckily for us, when you do anything politically, you always have to find your champions in your local area, both in the House and Senate. Here in Tampa, we're fortunate. We have Jackie Toledo, Dana Young, Jamie Grant's been a big help with us. And so you work with these individuals. It's a graduation process to make sure they're aware of your issues. For example, of our Baker Act beds, we can't turn anyone away. We used to fill more beds than what the state pays for. So you help those people understand what your challenges are to make that business model work. They then work to get you in front of the various committees. So usually a month before the session starts, I'm in front of the House or Senate Appropriations or Healthcare committees and showing the outcomes. Then you work your way with those individuals on those various committees to work through that. And I think, unfortunately, on the mental health side, people will give that a lot of lip service when there are any issues that will pop up, from the horrific shooting on the other coast recently to any number of incidents that I don't need to go into any of those. And it's, to me, the irony always is in Tallahassee, they always want to point fingers and say, well, whose fault is this? Who could have done something differently? And a lot of times what I want to say to them, but I won't there, is, well, perhaps you should look in the mirror, because you guys have, the mental health funding has been constantly reduced every year for a number of years, even though they'll show where the state will say, well, new dollars are going into mental health, but taking credit for federal dollars that were going to come down anyhow. And so our challenge in Florida is 51st in per capita funding on mental health and substance abuse. And people say, well, aren't there only 50 states, but including territory, including Puerto Rico? So we're at the bottom, and our dollars were cut again, even this most recent year. But our success really is to find those few champions who get it, who understand the cause and effect, because a dollar you do spend with us, and we're successful with that patient, we're keeping that patient out of the hospital emergency rooms, which costs much more. We're keeping them out of the jails, which is a holding area for a lot of the mentally ill. And so when we have our success, we literally save tens of millions of dollars in much more expensive health care and the legal system by being successful in what we're doing. So every year, it's like I start from scratch and start developing that story over and over again. And we have our wins and our losses every year, frankly.
Thank you. Question, all the way in the back. We have young lady, Eileen, you'll be next. And then I saw Renee, you had a question as well, so.
Yeah, this question is for Mr. Rutherford. The opioid epidemic, how is that going to change your business, and how are you planning to adapt? It seems to be overtaking rather quickly.
Well, it is, and keep in mind too, the opioid epidemic, it's not anything new. You know, it's been growing for some period of time. I think that, you know, the focus area now is, you know, you see the federal government putting, you know, $1 billion into that, that is distributed through the various states to pay for a number of services. One of the challenges is, and trust me, I'm not saying this flippantly, but the lip service a lot of politicians give this, it's sort of the crisis du jour at this point in time. It's been around for a long period of time. I think it'll be with us for a period of time. What is important is to embrace, you've got to have that full continuum. So the rush right now is to say, here's all these tons of dollars to go in for that initial identification, the initial detox. We see a lot of these folks too, because our central receiving facility, Gracepoint, is one of 9 in the state of what they call a no wrong door. So both Baker Act and Marchman. Marchman Act is the substance abuse side of the Baker Act process, is a simplistic way to describe it. Those folks come in, so we're kind of the initial identifiers. But this rush for opioid treatment right now is all on initial treatment, initial detox. Anybody in medicine will tell you it takes a year to 2 years to really detox, to get a person, you know, non-addicted, as they would say. And so the dollars right now are on that initial treatment. And if you were a politician in Tallahassee, what I would tell you is, but don't throw dollars there and take away dollars from all the other case management and those community ongoing efforts, because when that person goes through that initial treatment, you have to have those other support systems for that next 6, 12, 18 months it's going to take to really get that person completely clean and completely devoid from using opioids. So it's sort of, the blessing is attention is on that now. We just have to make sure that we keep the attention on all the mechanics that are important to be successful.
Hi, my question is for Linda. You're definitely a trailblazer as a woman in your industry, and I guess my question would be, what is your industry doing to get more women into the kind of work that you're doing, and also the opportunities that you've had?
I was very fortunate moving into this industry that I was coming into a company that already was established and had a wonderful reputation. But I can honestly say, even though we are very much a male-dominated industry, I have never felt patronized or discriminated against because I'm a woman. I think in this industry, just like any other industry, it's really about having the stuff to back it up, preparation. And I think there's a new awareness right now, Eileen, more so than ever, a focus on bringing women in and what they have to contribute. You know, women are still considered a minority in our industry, and so there are a lot of companies that are looking for strong, qualified women to be a part of that. And we certainly value that. You know, if we have the option to bring on women that are great contributors, and I think that's true in construction across the board. Right now, I don't think it's a gender thing. I think it's a finding competent, qualified people situation. So I think it's a wonderful time for women in the industry. One of the groups that I'm a part of is Associated Builders and Contractors, and they've started a new Women in Leadership program that really is more of a networking kind of program. And we've had Debbie as one of our speakers, and it was just a wonderful event. She did a wonderful, wonderful job talking to young women, particularly in the industry. So I think it involves a lot of awareness, making women aware. Because you just don't, no woman thinks I want to grow up and be a fire protection contractor. It's just not something you know. So I think it's our responsibility to make women aware of the wonderful opportunities that are out there in a field that has historically been considered a male industry.
This question is for Linda also, and probably better answered by Scott, but I'm sure that you could tell us more about the future. You've had such an amazing tale of growth, And I'm wondering, as you've transitioned your leadership, what the next 5 years looks like.
I'm just putting my seatbelt on, and it's just been such an exciting sort of situation. And as I said, it took Scott a long time to decide that this was definitely what he wanted to dedicate his life to. And, you know, we came to a point 3 years ago where we said, okay, this is the time that we need to know, do you want to do this, or do we need to look for an outside buyer? Because we're 60 years old, you know, we know that we don't want to be doing this at this pace when we're 70 years old, so we need to start making some plans. And he decided that this was where he wanted to spend his professional career, which we're very thankful for. So it's a very gradual process for us, Renee. We've bought some property up in the north part of Florida that we love, and so we're taking some long weekends up there. I'm still the majority shareholder, and Ron is not president anymore. He has stepped out of the president role. Scotty's now the president of the company, and Ron's overseeing our design department. And Scott has done a wonderful job of surrounding himself with some very key leadership, completely different than either of us, but they are young visionaries with lots of experience, lots of motivation, lots of energy, and it's just really, they have my trust, which I think is such a key piece. It's such a joy to be able to say, I thought I was irreplaceable, but this is really going to be okay. You know, these people are doing okay when I'm away for the weekend. So I don't know. I mean, Scotty just has grand visions, but he's also very conservative, and we're moving slowly toward the things that he sees out there in the future.